Emily, a new mother, brought her newborn home from the hospital. After 3 days, she started to notice yellow discoloration in her baby's skin and eyes. She brought him to the hospital where he was diagnosed with jaundice.
What is jaundice?
Jaundice is the result of excess bilirubin in the blood, which causes yellowing of the skin and deep tissues.
When adult red blood cells near the end of their lifespan of about 120 days, they are phagocytized by macrophages. The hemoglobin is then broken up into globin and heme. The globin is further broken up into amino acids, while the heme is broken up into iron and protoporphyrin. The protoporphyrin is converted to unconjugated bilirubin, which is a lipid-soluble form of bilirubin. Because it is lipid-soluble and not water-soluble, it needs to bind to an albumin protein that is found in the blood to be carried to the liver.
When the unconjugated bilirubin reaches the liver, it is taken up by hepatocytes, which are also known as liver cells. The unconjugated bilirubin is then conjugated by uridine gluconyl transferase into conjugated bilirubin, which is water-soluble. Conjugated bilirubin is secreted into the bile ducts and then sent to the gallbladder for storage as bile. The gallbladder secretes conjugated bilirubin containing bile, which moves from the common bile duct to the duodenum in the small intestine, where it is converted into urobilinogen by intestinal microbes in the gut.
Urobilinogen then undergoes spontaneous oxidation and turns into urobilin. 80% of urobilin is excreted and is responsible for the brown color of feces. The other 20% is reabsorbed by the blood. 90% of this goes back to the liver, while 10% goes to the kidneys, where it is excreted and causes yellowness of urine.
Physiologic jaundice in the newborn.
Physiologic jaundice in newborns is caused by the decreased ability to metabolize and secrete bilirubin due to lower levels of uridine gluconyl transferase enzyme in the liver, as well as an increased production of bilirubin. This is due to the breakdown of red blood cells that have a shorter lifespan in newborns of 70 to 90 days, opposed to 120 days in adults. This accumulation of bilirubin in the blood is what causes the yellowing of skin and whites of the eyes.
This is typically normal in newborns with jaundice, and as the newborn's liver matures, the jaundice eventually disappears after 1 to 2 weeks.
However, if bilirubin levels rise too much, unconjugated bilirubin, which is lipid-soluble, collects in the basal ganglia of the brain, causing reversible brain damage, such as early acute encephalopathy, or permanent and irreversible brain damage, such as connectors, cerebral palsy, deafness, and intellectual impairment.
Some risk factors include abnormal blood cell shape because it increases the number of red blood cells that need to be replaced in the body. If a baby and mother have different blood types, because the baby may have received antibodies through the placenta that causes his or her blood cells to break down more quickly. A difficult delivery, because bruising during delivery may result in a higher level of bilirubin from the breakdown of more red blood cells. A premature birth, because a baby born before 38 weeks may not be able to process bilirubin as quickly as a full-term baby, as well as feeding less and having fewer bowel movements, resulting in less bilirubin eliminated through stool. Asian and Mediterranean descent babies are also at a higher risk of becoming jaundiced.
Relating back to the key concepts, some of the proteins we discussed are albumin, which carries unconjugated bilirubin, UGT enzyme, which converts unconjugated bilirubin to conjugated bilirubin, and hemoglobin, a component of red blood cells. Homeostasis is disrupted during jaundice because there is too much bilirubin in the blood and accumulating in the tissues. In regards to cell membranes, bilirubin crosses the cell membrane of the hepatocytes in the liver to be conjugated.
Also relating to the cell membrane, unconjugated bilirubin that is unbound circulates in the blood and crosses the blood-brain barrier, and because it is lipid-soluble, it penetrates neuronal and glial membranes. Going back to the scenario, the baby was put under a blue phototherapy light, which is a treatment that changes the bilirubin in the baby's body into another form that can be more easily excreted in the stool and urine. After using phototherapy for a few days, the baby's bilirubin levels went back to normal and he was able to go home.